Hello, I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. It's brought to you by the Dolores County Broadcasting Network with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the special district association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station, so if there's a news story or event information that you would like to share, please call us at 970-677-4119 or email dcbnnews@gmail.com. And if you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Tuesday program for April 27th, 2021. Let it rain, DCTV Daily News. And if you thought the Initiative 16, that's the Pause Initiative Against Animal Cruelty, is what they're trying to bill it as, that's here in Colorado on the 2020 ballot, well, that's a big step towards the new green agenda. Then take a look at the extremely liberal state of Oregon, where riots are not stopped nor prosecuted, and the next level of putting people on the chopping block is just around a corner. Farm Progress reports Oregon initiative would ban animal slaughter and breeding. An Oregon ballot initiative proposed for 2022 would effectively criminalize the farming of food animals in the state by classifying their slaughter as aggravated abuse and redefining artificial insemination and castration as sexual assault. Initiative Petition 13, filed with Oregon elections officials in November, would remove farmer exemptions from existing laws barring animal cruelty and specifically target practices used for, quote, breeding domestic livestock and equine animals. That according to the text of the initiative. You can look it up. The proposed Abuse, Neglect, and Assault Exemption Modification and Improvement Act would delete all references to, quote, good animal husbandry from state statute and only allow an animal to be injured in cases of a human's self-defense. A veterinarian's spaying and neutering of household pets would still be exempt. The initiative's sponsor, a group called End Animal Cruelty, is beginning to gather the 112,000 signatures they'll need by next summer and is working through the National Progressive Network Act Blue to recruit volunteers for the effort. Animal activist David Michelson recently told Portland's KBOO-FM, a donor-supported radio station. Quote, it would radically transform how we treat animals in the state of Oregon, Michelson told the station. So does this make Oregon a, quote, sanctuary state for animals? Quote, if this passes, he told KBOO, Oregon would essentially be a sanctuary state for animals. Any animal in the state of Oregon would have their rights more or less codified in law, that they deserve a life free of abuse, neglect, or sexual assault. Michelson said the initiative wouldn't ban animal agriculture entirely, nor would it abolish the sale of meat, leather, or fur in Oregon, but livestock would have to die of natural causes before it could be used for food production. And, quote, forced impregnation of livestock would be outlawed, he said. Violators would face criminal prosecution. Representatives of the Yes on IP13 campaign did not return an email from Farm Progress seeking comment. Livestock groups say that the initiative has dangerous implications for their industry. Do you think? They note that language in the proposal specifically targets livestock transportation, poultry production, and commonly accepted slaughter methods, as well as fishing, hunting, trapping, wildlife management, and other animal-related activities. Quote, from my experience, I can tell you the reason the cattle industry leans heavily on AI, artificial insemination, is improved genetics, which means they're more efficient with feed, more efficient with every aspect, including rate of gain, Oregon Cattlemen's Association Executive Director Tammy Dene told Farm Progress. Quote, it certainly would be problematic to have that taken away. If you really boil it down, we're talking about local food production, she said. There's a high degree of consumer awareness about purchasing local and understanding the local food supply, and you do not get better local food production than with a local beef producer. The proposal comes as animal welfare activists in Colorado are gathering signatures for a similar 2022 ballot measure that has already gone through, that it will be on the ballot, called the Protect Animals from Unnecessary Suffering and Exploitation, or PAWS, initiative. That's Initiative 16 here. It would ban artificial insemination and other commonly accepted veterinary and animal care practices in Colorado and would ban the slaughter of livestock that have not yet lived more than 1/4 of whatever they declare is their anticipated lifetime, which for cattle, they're claiming that it would be a 20-year lifespan, where most cattle don't live that long on their own. But so that would mean that you could not slaughter it until about 5 years of age. Opponent, of course, that is completely inconsistent with being able to deliver a food product. Opponents, including the Colorado Cattlemen's Association, are sparring with backers over the initiative's ballot language while holding rallies and engaging in a media blitz to explain animal husbandry practices and reassure residents that ranchers care about the humane treatment of livestock. Quote, "It's hard for people to pursue these in some places, but easier in others," said John Robinson, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association's Senior Vice President of Membership and Communications. Quote, "Certainly, they're floating these in low-hanging states." The NCBA is serving as, quote, "a clearinghouse of information as it coordinates with state cattlemen's associations and ranchers to fight the measures," Robinson told Farm Progress. Quote, "It's important for livestock producers to present a unified front to see that these things are knocked down when they pop up," he said. So now you can see how important the voting machines are. Not about Trump or Biden, but about the future representation of our nation and our states. To say elections have consequences makes light of the fact that the propositions and initiatives on the ballot also have far-reaching consequences to a whole way of life. And now, let's take a look at the local weather. Come on, rain and snow moisture. Well, today, rain and snow showers are still likely, becoming all rain in the afternoon. We hope so. Keep our fingers crossed. Some thunder is also possible. Mostly cloudy skies with a high near 50. South-southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour become west-southwest in the afternoon. The chance of precipitation is 60%, with little or no snow accumulation expected. Into tonight, a slight 20% chance for showers and thunderstorms earlier than 9 p.m., then a slight chance for showers overnight. Partly cloudy and a low around 34, with west-southwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour, shifting north-northeast after midnight. Into Wednesday, sunny with a high near 60 degrees. Breezy again with a north wind 10 to 15 miles an hour, increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour. For Wednesday night, mostly clear and a low around 35 degrees. Breezy with a north wind 15 to 20 miles an hour, decreasing to 10 to 15 after midnight. And again, winds could gust as high as 30. Into Thursday, we're looking for a sunny day with a high near 68 degrees. North-northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour with gusts to 25. For Thursday night, clear and a low around 41, warming up even more into the weekend. For Friday, sunny with a high near 76 degrees. Friday night, partly cloudy, a low just around 47. And into May, on Saturday, May 1st, happy May Day, partly sunny with a high near 79, breezy. Saturday night, mostly cloudy and a low around 49. And Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 76, breezy. Sunday night, partly cloudy and a low around 43 and continuing to be breezy. Be careful out there with fires. It is dry and we need all the moisture we can get. Now, let's get back to our news. The Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of April 19th through the 25th, 2021. They took a report of a lost pit bull mix in tan color. Animal control was notified. The sheriff dealt with a civil dispute. A two-vehicle accident was reported in front of the Family Dollar on Highway 491. A deputy and Dove Creek ambulance responded. They took a ready report of a vehicle northbound on Highway 491. A deputy was unable to locate. Trespassers were reported by a county resident. A deputy is investigating. The Monticello Port of Entry reported a port runner. A deputy located the vehicle and escorted it back to the state line where Utah State Patrol took over. Multiple syringes were found in a field by a local farmer. A deputy collected them and is investigating. A suspicious vehicle was reported by a local business owner. A deputy responded. The sheriff and his deputies dealt with numerous civil issues this past week. They assisted Colorado State Patrol on a vehicle stop. A deputy successfully unlocked a vehicle for a county resident. The Dolores County Sheriff's Office, Dove Creek Ambulance, and County Coroner responded to a call on Ormiston Road at Ferris Reservoir. There was one accident, 5 ambulance calls with 2 transports, 2 new cases, 27 traffic contacts with 19 citations, 2 animal complaints, 4 times assisting other agencies, 7 controlled burns, 17 other miscellaneous requests for service, 5 motorist assists, 3 VIN inspections, and a total of 136 calls handled by dispatch. Back the blue, they are here to protect and serve. Even the mainstream media is noticing that the grocery price shock is coming to a store near you. And that was the headline on MSN.com, if you can believe it, saying corn, wheat, soybeans, vegetable oils, a small handful of commodities, form the backbone of much of the world's diet, and they're dramatically more expensive, flashing alarm signals for global shopping budgets. Last week, the Bloomberg Agricultural Spot Index, which tracks key farm products, surged the most in almost 9 years, driven by a rally in crop futures. With global food prices already at the highest since mid-2014, this latest jump is being closely watched because staple crops are a ubiquitous influence on grocery shelves, from bread and pizza dough to meat and even soda. Soaring raw material prices have broad repercussions for households and businesses and threaten a world economy trying to recover from the damage of the coronavirus pandemic and the result of the lockdowns. They help fuel food inflation, bringing more pain for families that are already grappling with financial pressures from the loss of jobs or incomes. For central banks, a spike in prices at a time of weak growth creates an unwelcome policy choice and could limit their ability to loosen policy. Quote, there seems to be sort of a bullish force behind the prices internationally. Abdulreza Abdessian, senior economist at the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, said in an interview, quote, the indications are that there is very little reason to believe prices would remain at these levels. It's more likely they will rise further. Hardship is still ahead, end quote. Emerging markets, in some cases already under pressure from weaker currencies, are particularly vulnerable because food costs make up a larger share of their spending. For the poorest and often politically unstable countries, the surge in raw materials threatens to further stoke global hunger. Quote, the relentless rise in prices acts as a misery multiplier, driving millions deeper into hunger and desperation, Chris Nikoi, the World Food Programme's regional director for West Africa, said earlier this month. It's pushing a basic meal beyond the reach of millions of poor families who are already struggling to get by. The most recent crop spikes follow months of price gains fueled by booming import demand from China. Corn prices have doubled in the past year, while soybeans are up about 80% and wheat 30%. With China's purchases continuing and a spate of adverse weather conditions threatening crops in Brazil and the U.S., there are few signs of respite. Analysts, including those at Rabobank, Mintech, and HSBC Global Research, all see a risk of even higher prices as a result, though it will vary across markets. The impact on grocery shelves can already be seen in surging tortilla prices in Mexico, beef in Brazil, and retail palm oil in Myanmar. In the U.S., it's more expensive bacon and other meat cuts. Quote, generally, people see this inflation continuing, said Tosin Jack, an analyst at Mintech, which monitors commodity prices. The trend will continue for some time and it will translate into consumer goods. The threat of food inflation is making governments nervous. Russia, one of the world's top grain exporters, has ordered a freeze on some retail food prices while taking steps to curb shipments. Bolivia has temporarily banned exports of beef to safeguard supplies at home and put a lid on prices. Overall, global food costs have surged for 10 straight months, the longest rally in more than a decade, according to a UN gauge. The surge is stirring memories of 2008 and 2011, when spikes led to food riots in more than 30 nations across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, and contributed to political strife and uprisings in the Arab Spring, they claim. To add to this profile of what is in the works, both in the U.S. and across the world, the numbers of people who are dying of hunger, malnutrition, and starvation is already on a horrific high in what we refer to as the third world nations. Even the UN is reporting an urgent need to deal with famine in 20, quote, hunger spots. While World Vision International reports 7 million people are at risk for starvation across just 6 countries in East Africa, other reports indicate higher numbers of millions of people dying in locations like India, where cremations are happening in the streets. Part of the lack of food supply is due to the lockdowns, where farmers couldn't get to their fields and the supply chain was halted or limited. As was once said by the former president, we don't want the cure to be worse than the disease, and it looks like that is exactly what we got. And when depopulation is the agenda, those enacting this disastrous and anti-human plan are finally meeting up with more population waking up to what's really happening. And hopefully, a change in direction will eventually tip the scales back to a good path for humanity. And to catch the program online, visit our Facebook page, that's DCTV Daily News, or also on YouTube, same name, DCTV Daily News. Both you can follow and subscribe to easily and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station. So if you have something you'd like to share on the news, contact us. The email again is dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call us at 970-677-4119 and leave me a message. Thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. And if you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Be well and keep thinking for yourself.